All right, let's go here. Very excited about this episode. Welcome back, everyone, to episode 219 of the Broker to Broker podcast. I'm your host, Marc Summers, founding president of AIME. Today, very exciting episode. We have someone who knows the business. I'll tell you that much right now. I'm very excited that she was able to join us today. So welcome, everyone. Welcome the broker community to our guest, owner mortgage broker of Savvy Mortgage Lending, Tracie Mayo. Tracie, thanks for joining us today.
Hey, Mark, thanks for letting me. I love talking to you. You're one of the most knowledgeable, giving people in the industry, and thank you for having me on here.
Well, very kind of you, and thank you. But today's about you. Okay. Today's about you spreading your knowledge, helping people out here. But so people know a little bit about Tracie, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself and how you got to where you're at right now?
Okay. I've been in the industry not as long as a lot of people, honestly. I came in around the end of 2012 during a refi boom and worked for a bank and knew just enough to be dangerous, to be quite honest with you, when I left and went to work for a mortgage company that was more of a regional type of mortgage company in the state of South Carolina. And so I learned everything that I learned through that connection. And then when we moved to Florida, I decided to start my own company and became a broker and just loved the broker world because it gave me so many options. And I didn't have those options working for a company or a bank, especially. So that's kind of how I got started in the industry and kind of came up and grew and cut my teeth on becoming a broker back in 2015. And so I started my company in 2016.
Okay. And how's that going? What's the scope of Savvy Mortgage look like?
So, I mean, well, what do you mean exactly? In what
Well, okay.
regard?
Is it just you? How many people do you have?
So we used to have a team of five. Honestly, we kind of went down to bare bones a couple of years ago when the market started shifting a little bit. I still have my team of five processors. They're third-party processing company, best in the business. I love them. I've been working with them since 2016, so almost 10 years. But yeah, right now the company itself is just me. I'm the producer, the owner, the the
Compliance
CPE,
officer, marketing
everything,
manager.
everything.
Yeah, no, that's great. Well, let's hop right into the market here because, like
Okay.
one thing that I want to focus on is, I think everyone thought rates were going to drop. I mean, I'm still a big believer, and you can go back and listen to past episodes that they're going to. I mean, I just don't think this is really sustainable, but we're at where we're at. I think when people say rates are going to drop, they want it to happen tomorrow.
Mhm.
And I've been in this business way too long to understand that. There's a lot that needs to happen here. But while we're in this market, one of the questions that I get asked quite a bit, especially when I go do my classes and whatnot, is how do you handle some situations? So, for example, Tracie, when a client says, I'll wait for rates to drop, what's your best response to that? Or how do you attack that?
I attack it with the rates will eventually drop, but do you really want to miss out on some equity that you could be earning? Do you really want to wait until you get into that competitive market where everybody's trying to buy because the rates have come down? So I strongly encourage people to revisit that thought and say, let's go ahead and buy now when the prices are a little bit lower. The prices, here in Florida, the prices, the values have gone down a little bit. You can get a really good deal, even though the rates might be a little bit higher than you want them to be. Go ahead and buy and start building that equity and then wait for the rates to come down and refinance in a year or two or three whenever they finally do. Um, and then you can get that payment that you really want, but you've already started earning your equity.
Yeah, that's like the Barry Habib method. I think he actually has a calculator in MBS Highway. I know that's not a plug. That's just me being honest there. I
No,
think he
yeah.
has one of those things in there that say, what's the cost of buying now versus waiting?
Yeah, the cost of waiting. I mean, for sure. And I've used that calculator because I will show what you missed out on by waiting a year or two. You lose so much, and you just don't want to focus on rates. You want to focus on the value and the investment that you're getting.
Yeah. So with that being said, we're dealing with inventory challenges in many markets. I know Florida's its own beast down there, but what strategies are you using to help buyers compete when rates feel high, but prices aren't slowing down?
So, I mean, I am strongly encouraging people to consider either getting some sort of seller credit because it is a buyer's market and a seller is willing to give a little bit of money back to use that money in a smarter way to maybe get the lower interest rate. We were doing a lot of the 3-2-1-2-1 buy downs for a while there. We're not doing as many of those, but I still think that that's not a bad option if you've got that available to you to try to get that lower interest rate right now. But again, I strongly encourage people to use their money a little differently to try to make that number work for them.
Yeah, and the thing about buy downs that I've learned a lot about is, and this is what I'm going to express to a lot of the loan officers out there is be really knowledgeable on it. I don't think a lot of people they attack that rate. I mean, yes, we can buy it down, what I mean, but if that loan is if you don't refinance it, then you're in a world of trouble.
Yeah. Yeah, and you also I always advise my clients to look at the cost of what it's going to cost to do that and how long is it going to take you to recoup that cost that you put in there. And so you really do have to be educated about it for sure.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, so when it comes to all this, and you brought it up in terms of like looking at other products, looking at different types of loans, beyond what we all know, which is FHA, conventional. Some of us know VA and USDA pretty well. Some of us don't. What's one underutilized product that you probably want people to know more about, or that you actually use quite a bit?
I mean, I would probably say the bank statement loan is probably my biggest one that I use for my self-employed people because uh, you know, you know how we are. We're all self-employed here. We don't show as much income as we really should, but or make. And so, it's a really good way to get into a home. The rates are a little bit higher, but to be quite honest with you, they're not that much higher. And you can qualify to buy a home with the bank statement loan. And then again, focus on future and refinancing when the time comes to get into that lower rate and make sure that you're showing your income on your tax returns. But it's a really good product that I use a good bit actually. I probably do at least one a month. Well, one every 2 months right now for my self-employed borrowers.
So do you have like just curious here, do you have like a success story on that where maybe someone fought back a little bit on it, but it turned out to be pretty good?
Well, I'm going to use myself as an example because I did
Okay.
it. Yeah, I mean, I used one myself about 2 years ago and I did not want to do it because the rate was higher, but it was the only way I could qualify because I was going through a divorce and we still owned that other property together. And it was going to be very difficult for me to qualify to buy this new home before that other home sold. So I did the bank statement loan and I pushed back on it a little bit. And it's like, you know what? I don't know if this is the right thing for me, but it totally was the right thing for me. And it allowed me to get in, get settled in, sell that other house, and then I refinanced. And I refinanced even in this market. It's not necessarily a bad time to refinance. It just depends on your situation. And it saved me about $1,200 a month just to refinance out of that bank statement loan because I did have a little bit of a higher rate. But yeah, I mean, for me, it was total success because it allowed me to do what I needed to do.
Yeah, I think with mortgages, what happens quite a bit here is people just want the lowest payment, which trust me, we all do.
Yeah,
Let's set a baseline there. We want
yeah,
the lowest payment, but what I think people forget about is the cheapest way to borrow money is through your home,
yeah,
right? And number two, what it boils down to is this is an investment vehicle, right? I would always, and well, I do. I'm always looking at my home. How can I leverage my home because it's the cheapest money out there?
yeah. I would agree because I mean, you can't go and get any type of other loan and pay less than 7% interest. You just cannot. I mean, it's going to be higher than that in most cases.
Yeah. Okay, so when you're in your market and let's just say a deal seems impossible, how do you attack that? Like what creative routes do you take? How deep do you get into it? Because I know some people out there are like, sorry, I can't help you. When your credit scores get better, call me. Or hey, when you're in like, but there's many different ways to handle that. So give us some of your problem solving framework here.
Well, I mean, probably my biggest support system is going to be the Brokers Are Best group. And I'm not just giving a plug to that either, because I mean, there are people there that have so much more knowledge than I do, that even if they don't have more experience, well, longer time, they might have different options that they've used before. So, I mean, I bounce ideas off of the group all the time. So if I have somebody that's a little difficult and I can't quite figure it out, I reach out to the group, and they will usually tell me a good lender that maybe I'm not signed up with. And it's like, oh my gosh, I didn't even know that this lender would go, for example, go down to $500 on, I mean, 500 credit score on an FHA. I didn't know that. So let's call them and let's see what that looks like. And so I use them a lot. If I've got a credit compromised client who, has had some issues, I will definitely try to find what sources we've got. And honestly, if we don't have anything, I'm going to stay in touch with that client and say, look, let's do a wayfinder report with the credit company. Let's do a what if simulator. Let's figure out what we can do to get your score where we need it to be. And then it's a plan. It might take 6 months, it might take a year, it might take 2 years, but I'm here with you, and I stay with my client as much as possible to make that happen for them.
Yeah, no, and I think you hit the nail on the head there, which is, instead of just saying, "Hey, sorry, it's not going to work," your income's not high enough. Like teach them. We all have so much knowledge, more knowledge than the banks do, more knowledge than, we'll call them the what do you call it, the call centers,
Yeah.
because they're just smiling and dialing, probably not smiling, but they're just dialing. You know what I mean? And when you can sit down and show someone, let's put a game plan together for you, reconvene at this time, and keep setting up follow-up appointments, you then have a client for life.
Yeah, agreed. And it's funny, and I'm just going to give a little side story really quickly. I went to an event last night and met a client that I had never met in person because I couldn't, we weren't in the same location. I couldn't do her closing. And she was a first time home buyer when I worked with her, and that was about 5 years ago. First time I'm meeting her. And she said, oh my God, she said, I still rave about you. And she said, you just helped me and answered so many questions. And it made me feel great, first of all, that she even remembered who I was 5 years later. But I think it speaks to the time and energy that we do put into those clients, and making sure that they do feel like we care, and which we should, and we do. And we should be making sure that they feel that on their end as well. So, I mean, I think it's very important to stay in touch with our clients and do everything we can to help them.
Yeah, use your knowledge. I mean, all this stuff comes out, especially on like Brokers Are Best, the Facebook
Mhm.
group page. It comes out, like it's I put these clients in different categories all the time. If someone I can't help, and I keep a list of it. And if something comes out, I'm forwarding it to them right away. You know
Yeah,
what I mean? It's like we have to be the educators. We have to somewhat be the police on it and keep giving them information, because all they hear, if you just say, sorry, I can't do this loan, they hear that I don't want to work with you. And that's what it boils down to.
exactly.
Instead of saying, hey,
Yeah,
we're going to create a relationship here, which is what brokers do best, and kind of move forward.
agreed.
Yeah. So, all right. So we're in this crazy market right now. I've never seen a market so volatile when it comes to rates. You know what I mean? Like, I remember back in the day, if we had like a 9 point swing, it was like, oh my God, what's going on? We're seeing 30,
Mm.
40 point dips, spikes all over the place. So, when the rate conversation comes up and talking about home ownership, like, how are you explaining it to people in terms of this is what's going on in the market? This is maybe what we foresee, even though we don't have a crystal ball. But like, how do you get your mindset there? And what is your mindset?
Well, my mindset has always been to never say that this is a bad market, because it's not. It's not. It's not historically low rates. We know that, but it's
They're
not a
not
bad
historically
market.
high. They're not
Exactly.
historically high either.
Yeah. So my mindset has always been, it is not a bad market, and it is definitely not a bad time to buy. And so we need to just shift our focus from rate to what we can control, because the rates we cannot control right now. So let's control that. And so maybe you don't get that pool with the house with the pool that you thought you wanted as a first time home buyer. Maybe you look at going a little bit lower on your price point and make that payment where you need it to be, and then put the pool in later. put the pool in when you refinance in 3 years and maybe take some equity out at that point, and do that. So, I mean, that's where I try to keep my mindset, is that it's not a bad market. It's actually a very good market. We just need to shift our way of thinking on what we're considering bad and good, because the rates are what they are. And again, they're not bad rates. I mean, they're not as healthy as I would like to see them, but they're not unhealthy rates. They're just a little bit on the higher side. But that's the way that I try to keep my mindset with it.
Yeah, and I always use the analogy too. When you go buy a car, right? Do you ask them what the interest rate is?
No.
No. You ask them what
Yeah.
the payment is. What's
Yeah.
the payment? And then, like, how many years do I have to pay this thing off?
Yeah.
And I want people just to kind of have that little bit more of a mindset, and we will keep an eye on rates for you.
Yeah. Because
So
that's our job, and we see them all day, every day.
sometimes too many,
Sometimes.
sometime too many reprices. You know what I mean?
Oh gosh. Yeah.
Yeah. So when it comes to mindset as well, like what is, it doesn't even have to be rates, because we've talked about rates enough, and I hate talking about rates. This is what it is. Do you want the home? Is this going to put you in a better situation? We have to have a net tangible benefit, or you're getting a property. I mean, period. That's the way I look
Yeah.
at it. But when it comes to your business and the current market, what's going on out there? What is your mindset for your company right now?
Well, I mean, I've had to shift my mindset on the company side to lowering my expenses a little bit, to be quite honest with you, because the money's not coming in like it was 4 years ago. So we've had to kind of revisit that. And we do have a little bit of a difficult market here in Florida, because, we had back to back to back hurricanes. We don't even talk about Debbie, but Debbie was first in August, and then we had, Helene, and then Milton. And it really decimated some areas here. So, we've got a lot of inventory right now. Some of the homes need to be repaired or remediated or sold for land value. So, I mean, that's a little bit of an obstacle here, but it's a great opportunity for a good buyer to come in and maybe do a renovation loan. It's a great option for somebody to come in and tear a house down and start from scratch and do construction. I mean, there's all kinds of options that people have in this market. And, that's what I try to focus on, is what products should I be, focusing on right now in this market for my business. It's not going to be your normal VA, FHA conventional. It might be some of these different loans that, are the one-off loans that we do a few times a year that, maybe we need to do a little bit more of. So that's what I've been focusing on, is signing up with the right lenders that offer the right products for what we need right now in this market.
That's perfect. That's perfect. All right, let's hop to the AIM side. This is the part I love.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. On the AIM side, when the association started, and it went off like gangbusters. We were
Mhm.
not expecting what we expected. When did you join AIM, and when was it like, oh, I really like what they do here?
Well, I joined honestly from the beginning. I mean, I loved the idea of AIM. I loved bringing all of us together. I loved having a one-stop shop. Honestly, I go to the website and see if there's new, lending partners, partners that we can just sign up with. Like there was something that came out a while back, the VA, the virtual assistant, that
Yeah.
VA broker VA, and I used it. I used it. It was a great service. I'm not using it right now, but that's what I loved about AIM. And honestly, within about a year or so of being a member of AIM, I joined as a VIP, because you get so much other benefit by being a VIP member, because you get these escalations that you wouldn't get as just a normal little member. And I've used that escalation to say, hey, what the heck is going on? I need let's get Mark Summers involved, because somebody is going to say something to Mark, and he's going to say something, and it's going to get fixed. And so I joined the bandwagon very quickly, because I believed in what you guys were doing, for sure.
Well, thank you. Well, tell us your escalation story. Uh,
So I had pushed back, and I'm not even going to tell you the lender. I'm not even going to tell you the lender. Some of the things that I might say in a minute might give you an idea. But anyway, I had an issue, and I kept kept pushing back, escalated it above, was still not getting any feedback. I mean, any resolution, and it was a an underwriting issue, and it was an over underwriting issue. They were over underwriting the loan, and it was just unnecessary. And so I escalated it, and somebody, and it's been a few years, so I don't remember all the details, honestly, Mark, but somebody from AIM said something, and the next thing I knew, I got an email from the lender that said, this condition has been waived. And it's like, yeah, it's been waived because I've been fighting it for all day, and it should have been waived. And it was AIM that got that done. I have no doubt in my mind, because I had thrown my hands up, and I was mad about it, but AIM took care of it. And again, I just don't remember exactly what the underwriting issue was, but it was a non-issue that should not have been an issue. It should be something that was not required at all.
Yeah.
So,
Escalations are fun for me. First off, my favorite thing in the world to do is help people. I mean, that sounds corny and I know that, but I absolutely love it. Right. And when these escalations come through, it's funny for me because I'm not part of the situation.
mhm.
Like I have a level head about it where the loan officer is probably, or processor, broker owner is probably really heated about
Yeah.
it, just absolutely heated about it. And I get to kind of come in and be middleman and call these lenders and say, hey, I need a little help here. Can we take a look at this? At that time, I get both sides of the story. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Because there's always two sides. But for the most part, I mean, I think it's over like 95% now that and it's not just me. We have a great, phenomenal AIM team. I hop in a lot of them, but we're having a success rate. And people say, "Well, I shouldn't have to pay for that. The lender should just be better." Listen, no one's going to be perfect. There's still this human element in things, and why not just have something in your back pocket that you can go, "I can rely on this."
Well, for sure. And, I mean, I don't care how good the lender is, you're going to have inexperienced underwriters on occasion. You're going to have inexperienced AEs on occasion. And so, I mean, you've got to have somebody that can go and say, they've got the ear of the people in charge, and they can say, oh, yeah, I'll get this taken care of. And so I will gladly pay for that service. I think that it's well worth my money to do that. And then I don't have to stress out over it and have an aneurysm, because it's going to get taken care of as soon as AIM gets involved. I know that it is.
Well, thank you. Thank you for that. Last question about AIM here, and maybe there might be more. Who knows? I love talking about AIM. But at the same time, let's say you're a retail person or someone new that's looking to get into this business, or maybe someone that doesn't know a lot about AIM. There are quite a few people out there that don't know. They just hear about it and kind of they're busy. They move along. What is one piece of advice that you would give any one of those groups of people of why they should join AIM, or what should be something that as soon as they join AIM, they need to use this service or use something? What would it be?
Oh gosh, there's so many great things. First of all, I'm going to say AIM Fuse, even though I didn't even go this year because I had a conflict. But I think that that is a great place to go and meet people in your peer group, people that you will bounce things off of. I've got a guy right now, Brian Stone. I love him. And hey, Brian. Um, yeah, I mean, he's a huge help to me, and he's not located here. I don't ever see him, but I bounce things off of him. I see him when we go to different events, and you just meet some really great people. But I mean, also just finding the different to talk more about what a new retail person could learn is join AIM, go there, see what kind of lending partners you can sign up with, especially if you're a new broker, working even with my company. If you wanted to say, hey, I really want to do these types of loans and I'm not signed up with the lender, go find me a lending partner. And I don't want just any lending partner, I want an AIM lending partner. So you go find the lender that does that, and we'll sign up with them. So I think that that's just a huge benefit when you're coming from retail and you don't know what you don't know. It really does help you to find the right products and the right lenders to work with.
Yeah. I'll piggyback off you on this one. My favorite thing about AIM is the community. It
For
truly
sure.
is. If this was 8, 9 years ago before, we even came up with the idea of AIM, if you were a broker down the street from me, I hated you. I don't know why.
Exactly.
I don't know why. It's just kind of what we were taught. It was a dog eat dog world at that time. We were 11, 9, 10, 11, 12% of the market. And it was like, someone's on my turf. But I flipped my mindset on that. And, and it kind of starts with the Brokerage or Best Facebook community, like that community and just the whole AIM community, the Fuse community, all of that. You can get a lot done. You can learn a lot. You can, these people have been through, if you collectively have been through more experiences. So instead of like diving into guidelines, being one of those nerds that stay up at night and read guidelines, I mean that in a good way, just ask. And that
Yeah.
this community is going to help you.
For sure. Yeah, and you're right. I mean, brokers down the street, we would think of them as, that is the competition. And in reality, it's not the competition. And honestly, when I first got into the mortgage industry from in the Carolinas, one of the things that I really, really, really loved about my community there was a women's mortgage group. We would all get together on Fridays for happy hour, and we all just bounced ideas off of each other. We were all with different companies. We were not the competition. And so when I got into the broker world, it's like, why do we feel like we're competition? We're really not. We're learning from each other. There's enough business to go around, I assure you. And not every personality is going to work with every client. So, it's just a really good community. And I do love that about the BAB group, the Brokers Are Best group. It's one of my favorite things is the community.
I love it. The one thing
Yeah.
that amazes me about it is how so many people are on top of it. You know what I mean? And they pretty much answer everything. I mean, I'm an admin of the group. I'm like, how did I miss half this stuff? But some people, I don't know if it's notifications or whatever they're doing, they're on top of it. And
Well,
that speaks a lot about what we do.
it does, and not only are they answering all the questions, but they're also producing 100,000 loans a year. So it's like, how in the world? What are you doing? Yeah, so it's amazing.
That's awesome. All right. I got
Yeah.
one more thing for you here.
Okay.
Well, first off, are you going to Fuse this year, October 23rd in
Yeah, I'm
Nashville?
not. Yeah, and I didn't go last year. Well, I'm probably not going this year only because I've got a cruise scheduled at the end of the year and it might be just too much. But to be quite honest with you, I want to because I missed it last year. So, all right, I'm making myself a note. Stop bending my arm. I'm going. I'm putting it
See, there
down.
we go. There we go. See, it's perfect.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. So let's say hypothetically you are on the stage at Fuse this year. Okay. And you got the few thousand people that are there because we are the fastest on pace to sell this thing out, room blocks, everything than we've ever been before, which is phenomenal. But let's just say you're on stage and you get a minute or two to speak to the broker community and you get to give them one piece of advice, what would it be? It's a
Well, in
curveball
October.
question. It's a
Yeah, it
curveball
is.
question. So
Yeah, it is. Um, I mean, hopefully in October the rates have adjusted a little bit, so we're having a slightly different conversation. But probably my first piece of advice is be open to doing products that you've not done before. Be open to learning those different products because there are so many great non-QM products out there that will really help you get business. And don't focus on the rates so much and don't have that conversation. Just have the conversation as if it's a normal world because it is. It is our normal right now and the rates are there where they are. So that would probably be my biggest.
love it. Absolutely love it. Tracie, thank you so much. Thank
Thank
you
you,
so
Mark.
much for joining us today. Always love talking to you. Always love your insight. It's a very cool, calm, collective, but realistic approach. And, I know we're all busy. Thank you for taking time out of your day and joining us.
Well, thank you for asking me and I'll see you at Views.
I absolutely love it. All right,
All
brokers.
right.
If you want to get caught up on all of our past podcast episodes, please head over to aimgroup.com/broker to broker. You can get everything you need to know on there. You can also listen, watch all the AIM Network podcast episodes on YouTube, iTunes, and Spotify. If you're on YouTube, please use the handle at AIM National for more great wholesale content. Everyone else, please rate our podcast, leave a review, let everyone know why brokers are best. So once again, Tracie, thanks for joining us today, and we'll see everyone on the next episode.
Thanks, Mark.